Hello and welcome. We're going to begin standing for today's yoga practice. So get your mat set up, join me, and stand with your feet about hip width apart. We'll take just a moment to center ourselves here. It might be helpful for you to close your eyes or to just soften your gaze and for just a moment, tune into your breath. Notice that point where the inhale stops and then the exhale begins. You're welcome to leave your hands by your sides or to join them at your heart as we just set the intention to be in this moment of transition and its counterbalance of stillness here the day after the winter solstice. On exhale, release your hands and bow your head. Just open the eyes if they're closed. When you inhale, sweep the arms and reach all the way up overhead and feel that inhale end again, that pause of stillness when you're full of breath. And as you exhale, reach out and back down and just stay standing and feel that moment when you're empty and there's no breath. We'll do this again one more time. Inhale, opening up, and exhale, releasing hands and breath until you feel that come to a close. Transitioning once more, we're going to reach overhead. And this time on the exhale, you're going to open the arms and swan dive forward. Release your hands to the floor. If it's hard to reach the floor, just take your hands a little bit farther apart. When you breathe in again, pull the chest and spine forward away from your legs. And on the exhale, fold back in. We're going to do this 2 more times. Inhale, rolling through that transition of lifting the spine about halfway up from the floor. And then exhale, all the way deeper into yourself. Feel that still point, emptiness. Last time, inhale, Ardha Uttanasana. And exhale, bow. When you breathe in again, you're going to take your hands toward the front of your mat, and on the exhale, just step back into downward facing dog. For this first dog pose, bend your knees and push through the arms so that you can send your hips back as if to put them over your feet. With the knees bent a bit, we'll take some of the strain off of that stretch for now. While the arms are steady and still and strong, begin to pedal the legs so that one straightens and you hold that and then you switch. So it's not a rushed movement, but feeling the transition from one side to the other really fully, as well as that moment where you're just holding the stretch of the straight leg. Let's do one more on each side. After that, you're going to finish with your legs symmetrical, so bent if that still feels right to you, or beginning to go in the direction of straight if you're ready for it. On exhale, drop your knees to the mat. Walk your hands back so that they're a little bit more underneath your shoulders or even behind where the shoulders are. When you inhale, you're going to arch your back into cow pose. But when you exhale, you're going to lean forward past your hands. Put your chin and your chest down on the ground. Roll the shoulders back. And then reach the knees and feet back, lie them down, Push into the floor and curl up into cobra pose. On exhale, push yourself back into downward facing dog, just readjusting the hands as needed to fit on your mat. That spot that was bending when you put your chin and chest on the floor, lean that deeper into the pose. So you're making a back bend in the upper back, in the thoracic spine, and maybe even a little bit of openness in the front of the throat. As you breathe in, sweep your right leg up. That transition of moving through the arc. Holding there, you can take any variation with that top leg for just a moment. Feeling into whatever pose or shape you've chosen. And then step that right foot all the way up forward by your right thumb. So it's a nice long stance of a lunge. Tuck the right hip in, squeeze it toward the left so there's some structure and some stability there. On exhale, release your left knee to the ground. When you breathe in, sweep the arms overhead and come to upright, holding at that fullness of the expression of the pose, just letting the body and the mind be still, just like the sun appears to be still in the sky at this time of year. It doesn't appear to go any farther north or south for about 3 days. When you exhale, you're going to put your hands down on the floor and take a half split or hamstring stretch. So rock your hips back, stacked above the left knee. Slide that right heel forward if you need to, straighten the right leg. It's hard for you to touch the ground. You have a few options. You could put your hand on your shin, grab a couple blocks, or if you don't have props, put the hands to the left side so they're inside of the right leg instead of straddling it. Try to relax the back of the heart, the root of the shoulders, the root of the neck. Release the head and bow over the leg. When the pose is stationary, let the movement be the breath. So just find the breath in your mind's eye. Just watch it rise, pausing, and then emptying. Pausing, empty. Just step on the gas with that right foot. And then we're gonna step and rock forward to balance on the right leg. Shift the hands forward too, so go to warrior 3 with the hands down. Push the floor down, roll the chest forward, soften the gaze. Stretch both legs as straight as you can. Now again, if this is harder for you because you have tighter legs, bend the standing leg, but keep the left leg really straight and strong. This is going to be an interesting transition if you've never done it before, but you're going to tuck your left knee behind the right ankle and then sit down into Ardha Matsyendrasana. So knee right behind the right ankle. Use your hands, transition your hips back and sit down. You're going to twist to the right. I'll just turn and face you for a second so you can see. I'll mirror you too. So one knee is down, one knee is up. And if it's too much with the ankles crossed, just uncross them. As you roll the chest to the right, wrap or cross over your right knee with your left elbow. Turn the chest, turn the head. This moment in the season, yesterday was the shortest daylight and the longest night of the year. And yet we had this amazing planetary conjunction, Saturn and Jupiter, looking as if they were one star united in the sky. Like a flashlight beaming into the darkness. Untwist, you're going to stay seated, and you have two choices here. Either drop the right knee down on top of the left, So knees kind of stacked in the center with the feet apart. If that's not working for your hips or knees, join the soles of your feet and put the knees wide. Take a moment sitting, holding your knees, your ankles, whatever you can grab. Stay upright. Close your eyes if that feels safe to you, like you're going into the stillness, the quiet of this restful, dark time of year, this winter that we're transitioning into. When you breathe in, imagine that brightness like the stars, this Christmas star that was in the sky yesterday, 2 planets converging. Bring that light to the inhale, to the inner body, and then keep the light in your mind's eye, but exhale and begin to fold forward over your legs, using your hands as needed for support. The breath can continue to work like a flashlight, illuminating any spots within that feel forgotten or out of sorts. Just breathe them into your awareness, staying with that rhythm of the 4 even parts of the breath, a slow inhale, a moment of pause, of stillness, being full of light, full of hope. The steady, calming exhale. And that pause, empty, where what's not serving gets to be reevaluated, let go, and we get to open to unlimited possibility. What's next? What is happening next for us? Roll yourself back upright in the spine. And we're going to transition out of this similarly to how we got into it. So you're going to lean to the left, swing that right foot forward. Use your hands over on the left to pick yourself up, your hips up anyway. Step back with the left leg into a lunge. You're going to walk the hands toward the front of the mat. And then we're going to step right back into dog pose. Hold there for 1 breath, just establish that pose, steady, calm. Then a steady, equally steady transition, inhaling forward to plank, pausing as the breath ends. On the exhale, bending the elbows, come all the way to the floor, arriving when you're empty of breath. Inhale, curl the chest open. Remember what it felt like when your chin and chest were on the floor. Try to bend in that part of your spine here. Exhale, push back to Adho Mukha Svanasana, the downward facing dog. Inhale the left leg up. We're going to hold for just a couple of moments, so any option with that top leg that you want. And please step forward with your left foot near your left thumb. Nice long stance lunge. Keep the right leg straight. Bend the left knee. Squeeze the left hip in so that it's drawing toward the right hip, like the 2 hips are getting closer together. Lengthen the spine. Just wait for the exhale and use that as your guide to drop the right knee. When it's over, there's just a pause, getting ready to move, and the inhale is what's going to take you up and help you bring your arms overhead. And then we're going to hold here in the lunge with a soft gaze, as if we're out in the night sky and we can see this star, this conjunction that's rumored to be the root of the story of the Star of Bethlehem, as if it's guiding us, pulling us in the direction we need to go. Exhale the hands down. Half splits over the right knee with the hips. Push the left foot forward. Inhale, lengthen the spine. Exhale, bow. Often we refer to the North Star as the guiding star. And there really is a multitude, millions, as Carl Sagan would say, millions and millions of stars. Where's the one that you line up with? What's guiding you, helping you transition from who you were into who you're becoming? Soften the shoulders, soften the back of the heart, just receiving that support, that love. It's helping you move forward. We'll physically move the body forward now to balance on the left leg in Warrior 3 with the hands down. So right knee lifts, rock forward, shift the hands forward, elevate the right leg. Toes point straight down. See if you can grow the left leg straight. And if that's too much, like it's making you hold your breath, just stop. Just bend the knee a little bit. Make it work for you. No need to overpower your body. On the mind, on the other hand, can you get a little control over that? Just keep it focused. Maybe find a dot on the floor that's interesting to look at. Or come back to observing your own breath for just one more cycle. This is the transition to sitting. So if you can do it in one swoop, you tuck the right knee behind the left ankle and sit down. If that's hard for you, you just go to the kneeling lunge, lean over to the right, tuck the knee in from there. Either way, you're going to twist to your left. As you twist to the left, turn your belly, turn your chest, turn your head. And your eyes might be looking out over toward, in my case, this holiday poinsettia. But you still have an awareness of what's going on where you can't see. What's happening with your left foot? Can you put some weight on the inner edge of that foot so that your knee gets a little bit more upright? This is the paradox that we live. We live in this world where there's a lot going on that we can't really see, but we feel. There's a lot we see as well. Let's untwist. You're going to either drop your left knee down on the right, feet apart, knees to the center stacked, or soles of the feet together in Baddha Konasana, the bound angle pose. Hold your ankles or your knee. Sit upright. Just sit right where you are. Feel that moment of the breath coming, filling you with possibility, leaving, taking with it all that is no longer needed. Start to fold forward as that exhale does come, supporting with your hands. The in-breath, roll back up, transitioning first to sitting, and then we'll start to make our way out. Lean to the right, lift up the left foot and place it forward on the mat. As you lean to the right, use your hands to pick up your hips to help your weight transition. Right leg back, hands to the front. You're going to lift the back knee and step back into downward facing dog once more. Again, just one breath here. On inhale, lean forward to plank. On the exhale, transition to the floor. Inhale, cobra. Exhale, downward facing dog. Focus the mind on 3 even breaths. On exhale, please drop your knees. And either sit on your heels, between your heels, or on a prop like a block. Just rest your hands in your lap. This is the mudra of contemplation. One hand palm up, the other one stacked palm up on top. Tips of the thumbs lightly touching. You can close your eyes or just relax your eyes. Soften the shoulders and the scalp. Allow your hips to settle their weight down onto your heels or the floor, whatever you're sitting on. Find the courage to sit still for just another 30 seconds or so, to just be here with yourself. Softly reopen or refocus the eyes. And then we're going to take one pose with a prop. So you can use a yoga block, or you can use something like a pillow or a blanket, rolled or folded. Totally up to you with what you have. You're going to place that behind you on your mat, and then you're going to sit in front of that. Scoot away from it, and you're going to start with it right between kind of the shoulder blade, upper back area, and just see how that feels. If you need to move it, then just come up and readjust. So we want the hips on one side, the head on the other side, but we want to make sure that the prop is not in the low back. That's what we're after. And just depending on the elevation, you might need, like I'm going to use my hands for just a little bit of support underneath the head until the back bend helps you open enough that it's easy to release the head and have no pain. These two planets that came together, they actually come together every 20 years. It's just that the way they were configured this time was something that doesn't happen, I think something like every 500 years, some long amount of time. But these two planets are Jupiter and Saturn, and those are kind of opposites in what they represent in astrology. Saturn is a bit more about like structure and the work of sort of weeding through what we have and what we need, what we don't need, what we should dump. And then Jupiter is just about expansion, expansive learning, expansive freedom, travel. So contraction, expansion, balancing. So right now, you have expansion. It's kind of being forced or held by the prop in the chest. And as you exhale, you're going to pull your front ribs down and contract them. Now see if you can hold a small level of that contraction in the ribs and abdomen, but not so much that you don't breathe. So it's just enough that you're trying to help the upper back do the opening instead of the low back doing that back bend. And this is something that takes a long time to learn in yoga, where one part is engaged and another part is soft. It took me years to learn how to do that. Okay, that's enough of that. So just relax your effort and make your way off of the prop and just push it out of the way and lie down on your back. This is a really good practice in life, right? To be strong, to have good boundaries, but to also be open-hearted and loving. So let's take the knees in towards the chest, give a gentle squeeze. Holding that pose in a moment of self-care and stillness. We're going to twist to both knees to the right. And on exhale, press gently back through the left shoulder. The breath isn't usually quite as full in a twist, but feel the inhale to its full capacity. The pause before the exhale transition begins. And use the strength of your abdomen to help bring your legs back up, and please bring them over to your left. As they release to the floor, gently roll the right shoulder back. Find your way back to center. Either hold the knees again or reach through the legs and grab the feet in Happy Baby. When you're ready, release your legs and stretch them out on the floor for a short Shavasana. The pose of ultimate stillness. That's why it's called corpse pose, just not moving at all. Resist the urge to fidget, to move. And let your body rest. Yoga is sometimes defined as the union of opposites. The freedom to expand the structure, to hold the change. To integrate what's new. The strength to cut away what's been really needing to go. This tension of opposites is something we practice in yoga, engaging one thing, softening another. So So soften your mind, soften your body, and engage the openness of your heart to feel this butterfly that you're becoming. And then start to deepen your breath just very subtly. You can wiggle the toes, roll the wrists and ankles. Just stretch and reawaken. Transitions can happen fast or slow. Sometimes one is better than the other, but there's no right way. Usually when we come out of Shavasana, it's less jarring if we do it slowly. So just roll to your side. Take a breath or two and then push into the floor and roll up so that your head comes up last. And take a seat for just another moment longer. See how you feel. Again, either leave your hands on your lap or join them at your heart and just thank the parts of you that have continued this process of personal growth for so long. I know how hard you work. I know how hard you've been working. So I acknowledge that in you. And I thank you so much for practicing yoga with me today. Thank you. And I'll see you next time.